All right. Welcome.
Podcast number 15,
Wow. That still blows
right?
my mind.
Half halfway to 30.
Ugh, I know. I was so good on my Duolingo. I was like on a 79-day streak and then I missed like 4 days and I'm like, oh,
Oh,
so I lost my streak.
bummer.
I know. And so I haven't done it since I lost my streak, but I, it was getting really repetitive and I'm like, okay, I know these things. Like, can
Mm-hmm.
we go to the next? But it doesn't let you just do it like that.
Yeah, I love Duolingo, but I haven't used it lately either. I don't know. I can't say I don't have the time because it doesn't take long at all. I just haven't done it. But I love how they recently added speaking ones where it hears how you're saying things.
Yes, it makes me self-conscious because I know it's not very good when I say it.
Yeah, but how many people do we come in contact with who don't speak perfect English, right? Like they don't sound like native English speakers, but we can still understand them. So I'm
Yes,
sure that's how we sound speaking other languages.
that is very true. And I also feel I obviously talk very slow, and I feel like most foreign languages other than English are speaking or spoken a lot faster than English can be, or than I speak English, but I feel like I need to get that rhythm of the quickerness.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and from my experience, people who don't speak English as a first language when I've gone to other countries or just interacted with like people coming to the United States who don't speak English as a first language, but would see me trying to speak Spanish. They just think it's cool that you try. Like when I went to Mexico, I always get randomly pulled, right? So I had to take my bags to customs, and this really hot security officer, what do they call it there? It's not TSA, but the equivalent, was going through my bags and he asked me in Spanish, "Do you speak Spanish?" And I said, "Of course," in Spanish. And like his whole demeanor changed because before they were just making us wait there and like people were looking at us like very seriously. And he approached me very seriously. But once I said that, in Spanish, even though my Spanish isn't very good, like he gave a big smile and he was so nice, and I was in and out after that. So I think people just appreciate that you try. You
Oh,
don't have to speak it very well.
I think, oh, that's super sweet. I always
Yeah.
get randomly pulled for stupid ass things too in TSA. Last time I
Ugh.
went to go visit you, I had a candle in my carry-on, which is perfectly fine, but they like
Yes.
swabbed everything for drugs because you can
Ugh.
melt like cocaine into candles.
So
And I
ridiculous.
was wearing a knee brace and they like swabbed that and my hands and my bag, and I was just like, it's too early for all of this.
I know. And I always give them an attitude, which doesn't make things better for myself. But I just hate being treated like a criminal. I am a good person. I don't even jaywalk because I'm so afraid of authority.
I just don't jaywalk because I don't want people to judge me for jaywalking. Because I
Oh,
definitely judge people when I'm driving and people are
God, me
jaywalking.
too.
I'm like, there is a crosswalk 20 feet up the road.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's like you're telling everybody I'm more important, and it's okay if I'm putting you at risk because you're going to have to slam on the brakes because I decided to just march across the street, or the people who go halfway and stand like in the turn lane because there's so much traffic and they realize, oh, maybe I should have taken the crosswalk.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe I
Ugh.
need to be nicer because I don't get mad when I have to stop for a squirrel or like ducks crossing the road.
Oh, no, there is. I live in a pretty small town and there's built like where the grocery store is, there's parking from one direction, then there's the street, and then there's parking from the other direction, and there's no
Hmm.
crosswalks because they're all businesses. I do
Yeah,
judge people that do not stop for pedestrians in that area because
same.
it's basically a parking lot because a parking lot divided by a road. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, pedestrians do have the right of way.
And
Ugh,
you only have to wait for like 10 to 20 seconds. I also hate when people rush people who are in the crosswalk. Like you're wanting to turn through the crosswalk and like you're rushing people who are walking across that. Oh, it's another one of my peeves. I'll walk slower. My
me
husband
too.
says, I'm just gonna bend over and tie my shoe.
Or when I'm stopped, like when I'm going to turn right on a red light and I stop and the person behind me honks, I'll sit there till the light turns green. I
Yes.
said, "You're not
Like
going to
I'm
rush
sorry
me for being safe."
for following the law.
Yeah, especially because on on some of the streets it says no right on red and people will still
Mm-hmm.
honk and I'm like,
And you're not supposed, even if you don't see cars coming, you're supposed to stop and make sure.
yeah, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Man.
yes. We're off on a tangent, which I think is pretty good because TikTok, I could go on tangents about TikTok. We decided we're going to talk about the seedy underbelly of TikTok, so to speak.
Yes, the dark side of TikTok. And you're right, TikTok kind of is a tangent all in its own. How many
Yes,
places can I see cute animals, recipes, thirst traps, jokes, all in under 5 minutes?
for real. It's so great. I am a very old person, but not
No,
really.
you're
But
not.
I like to watch YouTube shorts, which are basically TikToks uploaded on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But that way I just don't have to open a new app when I'm already on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I do get on TikTok to see, you know, the first 100 or so on my For You page, see what's going on every couple of days. But usually I'm on, or Instagram Reels also.
Mm. See, interesting point. I am on TikTok a lot, not as much nowadays just because I've been so busy, but if I were to open Facebook, Insta, TikTok, it would be TikTok. But if TikTok gets banned, which is something we were going to talk about today, those might be good alternatives.
Yes, it really is because over 75% of Instagram Reels and on Facebook and on YouTube, they have the little TikTok symbol on the
Oh,
video.
yeah.
So they were
People are just
definitely,
double dipping,
yeah,
which is
they were
smart.
definitely made them on TikTok and just uploaded them wherever they wanted, which is fine because I'm consuming it there and you're consuming it somewhere else. So
Yep.
it's being consumed. Which, speaking of TikTok being banned, I actually did not know that a Chinese company owns TikTok.
Yes, that's been in the news a lot lately, and it's been talked about for a while because when Trump was president, he wanted to ban it in 2020, citing privacy concerns, and a lot of people said it was xenophobia because it is a Chinese company. But yeah, so the company that owns TikTok is actually called ByteDance, BYTE. Um, and of course, we know there was Musically and then Vine. Um, and TikTok, it sounds like they started merging with Musically earlier, like possibly even 2017, but it didn't become worldwide available until August 2018. And they paid $1 billion for it.
Wow. I can't even fathom $1 billion.
I know. I know. Imagine making something like that. I think of that like the guy who created MySpace or Facebook or Twitter, like imagine getting offered that much money for something that just started as your idea. Pretty crazy.
It really is.
But what's interesting about ByteDance to me is that they own TikTok, but TikTok is not available in China itself. There's a Chinese version called Douyin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's Douyin, which is separate. So Chinese people use Douyin and the rest of the world can use TikTok because TikTok is available in like 75 languages. So it's not that Chinese people couldn't use TikTok. It's almost like they're not allowed to. And I do know China has much stricter laws when it comes to speech and censorship, but I couldn't see anything about that. Like, is stuff more censored on Douyin? But the differences I saw is that you can search videos by someone's face. So, like, if I wanted to see all the videos that had Justin Bieber in it, you can upload a video of Justin Bieber and it will scan the whole app for videos that have him in it, which is a little creepy, but I could also see it being a good thing. And then they also have the ability to buy and sell stuff directly from TikTok, which or from Douyin, which TikTok does not have. And then you can also book things like hotels and travel through Douyin, and you can make geotagged reviews. So it seems like Douyin is separate because they allow more ways to make money, is what I see.
Yeah, I I see both. And I think one of the reasons why TikTok has been in the news lately because of this is because of the security that
Mm-hmm.
since it is owned by a Chinese company, other countries, especially like the US and, countries in Europe, they can't control the privacy settings and, what information is being uploaded to there.
Mm-hmm. And
That,
who has access to that information.
yes, which,
I know. I'm so on the fence about it because I do love TikTok. And, I have mine connected with my phone number, which in hindsight I hate because I hate how, like, once a week I have to say, no, do not import my contacts. I don't want everyone who's ever had my phone number to see my TikToks. I found my old therapist. She has a TikTok. And I found that because I still had her phone number in my phone. Like, it's just a boundary thing in so many ways. So I do hate that. But so last month, March of 2023, the CEO of TikTok appeared in the US Congress because so many states, 32 states right now, have plans to ban TikTok, at least for any state employees and agencies. So not only would that obviously be like senators and governors and that kind of thing, but it could be social workers. It could be um my husband has a friend who works at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, and he is not allowed to have a smartphone. Like, his friends make fun of him because he has an old school flip phone that you have to text by pressing, you know, 4 times to make an S, right? Like old
yes,
school, because it's a security thing. So it's not unheard of. But he was saying, and I don't disagree with him, the CEO was saying, yes, TikTok uses collects data, but it's no different than US companies collecting data like Facebook and Google. And it's so right.
that is
Like,
very true.
it's true. And so it makes me wonder, is this xenophobia? Is it just we are kind of judging China? But I don't know. Maybe China does have ulterior motives and it could be very bad. But we do so freely give so much of our information to Facebook and Google. I have a business Facebook, and if I wanted to run an ad, I can be so specific. I can say, run this ad to females between the ages of 20 and 25 who are interested in Harry Potter. Like, you can be so specific, and it's because Google has mined our data for years, right? Like, what would
Hmm.
come up if they typed our names?
Exactly. Or one time we were talking and you had brought up when we were talking about what's his name, Andrew something, if he's
Mm,
real or not, and you had said Comme des Garçons, which he had modeled for. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I know garçon means boy in French." The next day, I didn't even say the whole name. The next day, I had an ad for that on my Facebook for Comme
Yes.
de Garçon.
And you hadn't Googled it. We
No,
had just said it, and we didn't even have apps open. And so many people have stories like this where this has happened. It's
yeah.
really messed up.
Or this is the creepiest one. This is like off on a conspiracy theory, kind of. But one time I was just talking with my husband one night, and I had asked him a question about the JFK assassination. And we were going into what that entails and what kind of crimes those are, like if that's treason or whatnot. All of a sudden, his iPad pops on, and Suri was like, "I'm sorry, can you repeat that?" And we did not even
Whoa.
say Siri. Like, it was just, I was asking, about JFK and like Abraham Lincoln and just, specific things in the past that had to do with, bigger details of what that was. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just so creepy.
That is so creepy. Oh,
And sometimes my
and
TV, the voice thing just automatically like pops on because I can
oh, do
see
you
the
have a
little,
smart TV?
yes, the little bar on the bottom. It's an Alexa TV. And Alexa's little bar it'll pop up on the morning or on the bottom like just rant, and we don't even say like, because sometimes if my husband's watching something I don't like, I'll be like, "Alexa, change the channel to HBO Max," whatever he's not watching, so it'll turn it off. But sometimes it'll just pop up and just listen.
That's so creepy. Ugh. And those things, like they come with warnings, right? They come with fine print, which nobody ever reads. Like we our Apple terms of service, Google terms of service, we never read those. I'm
Hmm.
guilty of that too.
Yes.
And I know we're probably just signing our lives away. And I know that Apple and Google and lots of other social media platforms have given personal information to police to help solve crimes and stuff like that. And I think a lot of times that's how this stuff is wrapped up. Like it's a matter of safety, and there's these good things we can use it for, but it is a loss of freedom and privacy in a lot of ways. And I mean, look at the UK, all of the CTVs they have. There's you can't go on a public street without being on video. Um, and it has solved a lot of crimes, and people do say it keeps them safe, but I think it is an age-old debate of at what cost.
Yeah, I do know it was in the news a couple years ago that like the Supreme Court was trying to take Apple to basically so cops, if they had, seized a phone, that they could take it to
Mm-hmm.
Apple and Apple would open it, and Apple was like, no, 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 we don't do that.
Yes, Apple
Um,
is one of the better ones in terms of standing up for users' rights, but they're also like the Siri thing that you said. They are
yeah,
using our data for themselves. They might not be giving it to the government yet, but they're using it in other ways.
yeah, because I feel like there's stuff I won't even look up. Maybe I'll talk about it in passing to somebody and then I'll see, ads and it's just like, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck? Like,
Mm-hmm.
did
Or
I
how they're currently being investigated. Are there updates purposefully making our phones slower and making our batteries go faster so that we'll keep upgrading our phones?
yeah,
And I
because
believe that.
yeah, my husband has an iPhone 11 Pro still and I have the
Mm-hmm.
14 and he was like, "Oh, I think I might go get a new battery in my phone." Because I was like, "Oh, why don't you just go get a new one?" And he was like, "No, like that's not the
Yep.
point. Like I'll pay for a new
Mm-hmm.
battery
Yep.
because
That's what I did with my last iPhone. Not the one I currently have, but I did buy a new battery and it was $50 and it worked. I got another year and a half out of it.
it's like a double knife because all the ads and people out there are like, "Oh, I need the newest thing, like to be cool or to be on
Mm-hmm.
trend or." to have the best. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, like, if the updates are slowing down the phone, or if something's so old it won't even update. I think we've had that
Yep.
problem with an old iPad and it wouldn't even
Yes.
update.
Yes. Or apps just won't work on it anymore. I did get a new iPad last year finally because I had had the same one for about 8 years. But I couldn't download Disney Plus, Hulu. I would have to do YouTube through the browser because it just wasn't supported anymore. And that's such bullshit.
It is.
Because I'm sorry, the YouTube app doesn't do anything better than it did 6 years ago.
No, it doesn't. It just has more fucking ads.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ads on YouTube.
And look at like Amazon products. There's tablets or even the Nook, right? Is that what
Yep,
it's called?
the Barnes& and Noble Nook. Yep,
Oh, the Nook. What's the Amazon one called? Kindle.
Kindle. Yep.
You pay more to get one without ads on it. But for $50 cheaper, you can buy one and every time you turn it on, ads pop up. Like we're
It,
literally buying stuff now that have ads preloaded into it.
I know. I saw this post. I can't remember where it was, if it was an article or on Facebook, but it was basically breaking down that nowadays we are it's not like we used to, buy a DVD. We are paying for a service that, if we stop paying for, we won't have anything to show from it in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is very valid, especially in the age of TikTok and YouTube and Netflix and Amazon, that
It's true.
Apple Music, you pay for these things every month, and it's not cheap.
Mm-mm.
At least with Audible, you do get to keep the book every month,
That's what I was thinking.
you get to
But
keep
as
that
long
one.
as you keep your Amazon account, right?
Yeah.
You have to be signed in to use it. And right now it's free to keep an Amazon account, but will it always? Or will there start being a $10 a year fee to just to have an Amazon account?
Oh, that's so
I
crazy.
don't know.
Especially because Amazon Prime they have gotten more content, but if you buy something on Amazon, I bought a new scrub jacket for work, Amazon Prime shipping, 20 days to get here. Almost three
Mm.
weeks.
And it was in stock?
Yes,
That's
it
ridiculous.
said it was in stock. It said Amazon Prime shipping, and as soon as I paid for it, it said we'll be here April 20th or April 19th or 20th, and I bought it on March 31st.
A lot of the stuff I've ordered from Amazon lately have come damaged too. Even if the product itself isn't, like the box would be damaged. And when you're giving a gift, like that's so tacky. But they've also made it so much harder to do returns and it takes longer to get your money back. It didn't used to be so hard. It used to be so easy to do Amazon returns. You would print out the label, stick it in your mailbox, done. It's not
Hmm.
like that anymore.
Nope. The last time I returned something, I had to take it to the UPS store and like,
Same. Kohl's or UPS are my options right now for where I live.
yep, me too. And I like Kohl's, but it's just the fact they did pick one of my returns up one time, but that's because they sent me the wrong thing. I ordered a Louis Tomlinson when his new album came out. I had
Hmm.
pre-ordered it. It was the wrong fucking. It was like somebody I never heard of, and it was like a Christmas album. And
Oh my gosh.
so they did send UPS to pick it up because
That's nice.
they were sending one out before I had like as soon as I had requested the refund or the replacement, they sent it out before I had sent back the other one, so they had UPS come pick it up.
That's that's good. That's how it should be because they already have contracts with UPS. And if I'm going to a store to return something, I might as well just be shopping at the store. Why am I even buying on Amazon then?
And the UPS store and Kohl's are at least 20 minutes away from where I live.
Same.
it's not easy to get to. It's not close.
Mm-mm. So you might as well just go shopping.
I know.
That's the point I'm getting to because I'm just getting so annoyed.
Me
But
too.
I will
Especially
continue to use, I do like, I love Audible.
yes, I am new to Audible. The one thing that annoyed me was you have to have an Audible subscription for 30 days
Mm-hmm.
before you can buy more credits than the one that it gives you when you first sign up. But I do understand it has to do with like fraud, and if somebody reports their
Yes.
card is stolen and somebody, buys 10 credits, then they are out that money and the publishers are out that money. If you
Which I'm
have
sure has happened.
But if you have credits, you also can't buy more, which I think kind of stinks. Because what
That
if you
is
like
stupid.
get paid and you like want to make sure you have a little like some credits tucked away? I mean, I lived in a spot in my life where I didn't have the money to always just say, "Hey, I need another book," you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people, especially everything is so fucking expensive. I went not grocery shopping, but kind of household shopping for things that we needed, like laundry soap and cleaners. And I'm like, everything is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So I was going to bring us back from our tangent now of, everything with social media and information processing. I don't know if you have anything left to say about the United States and other countries versus
I I
China.
do have a couple.
Okay.
Um, just that TikTok surpassed 2 billion downloads in 2021 worldwide, which is crazy. And 150 million of those are US users, which is almost half of the United States. Um, but I didn't realize how many countries had already banned TikTok due to privacy concerns. India, in India, TikTok has been banned since June of 2020. And then it's also banned in Afghanistan, Armenia, Bangladesh, Iran, Pakistan, Syria, and that's just widespread banned. And then it's been banned on government devices in Canada, many countries in the European Union, the UK, Denmark, Belgium, New Zealand, and Australia, and US is soon to follow, at least for government employees. So there's a lot of people who are worried about privacy concerns with TikTok, and that makes me a little worried.
I know. I do believe there should be restrictions on where TikToks are made. I've seen a lot of nurses making them at their places of
Mm,
work, and I know when I've worked in hospitals, they're pretty easily identifiable because there are signs all over with, logos, and
yeah.
I've seen teachers make them in their classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's just safety for everyone involved.
But is that on the employers to make that rule then? Because how could TikTok regulate that?
I do think it's up to the employer, like it's up to, if they're going to ban it on, you know, gover government owned phones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what I think. I do think it's fun, but there's some type of line that may or may not be being crossed. I don't know how to say that correctly, but
Yes, you're right.
I don't know if it's being crossed, but I could see where it could be crossed. And I know that there are nurses and tons of people that have gotten in trouble because of saying inappropriate things while representing their company. And I know the company that I worked for, they did have like a social media policy where
Mm-hmm.
you could not portray yourself. You couldn't even like if you got into like a bar fight wearing your, branded your branded work stuff, you could be in trouble. You could be fired for that.
Yeah. Because, like, and you make a great point that It is a privacy thing and like a professionalism thing. And like the teachers, even if my son's face wasn't in a TikTok, I wouldn't even want his voice on a teacher's TikTok. It's inappropriate and nobody got my permission.
Hmm.
It's, yeah, especially when it comes to kids.
Especially because it's a private thing. I know with my
Yeah.
son's school, I sign a media disclosure thing where
Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
school can post on their Facebook or their website, but I did not sign for my son to be on somebody's, on his teacher's TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, his voice or his likeness from behind,
Yeah.
that's just dangerous.
Yeah. And you don't know what kind of video that person is creating either. Like there's this teacher, and do I think some of the videos are funny? Yes. She has this complaint box, or she calls it a tattle box, in her room where kids, instead of coming up to her and tattling, can write it down and they put who's tattling, who was the problem with, and what happened. And some of them are funny, like she called me a bitch and things like that. But isn't that kind of betraying your students' trust too? Like, they're not doing that to be a joke online for you to get likes. They're doing that because it was something that bothered them enough to let you know about it.
I would have a really big problem if I found out like my son was being mocked, even if it was
Mm-hmm.
just like his writing or
Mm-hmm.
something he said,
Yeah, you're
because he's a
right.
child and he's at that age where he knows right from wrong, but he's still a child and his mistakes are not views for somebody else, like, oh, my student said this and ha ha ha, isn't that so ridiculous?
Right. Or like, yeah, making fun of how they spelled something or something they said about their home life. Yeah, it's just wrong.
Or how we make fun of terrible spelling of names. Those are not our students. We don't know like, but I've seen teachers make TikToks where they're like making fun of students' names.
Oh, like yeah, you and I send each other a lot like crazy baby names we see
Yes.
online and how they're spelled. But you're right, those are private texts. We're not even making TikToks to publicly make fun of that.
No. And
Yeah, that's true.
but that's just what my 2 cents is, that there's a line and it's there, but I don't know where it's at and if it's being crossed. I just know it's there.
Right. Well, and I think that's the perfect segue because it's a very dark part of TikTok, in my opinion. And even just writing down the research for this made me sick to my stomach is how children are being exploited on TikTok. And it's estimated that 18 million users on TikTok are under the age of 14. And there are multiple child quote creators, as if children can even be social media influencers. But I've seen multiple people worried that TikTok is being used to traffic children, which I could believe. A lot of content is appealing to people who are attracted to children. I don't want to get us blacklisted by saying the word, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not going to say the names of any accounts. We are not going to show videos or pictures because us talking about it, I don't want us to get more traffic to these accounts that I have seen and that I'm talking about right now. But I have seen multiple accounts that have millions of followers and hundreds of thousands of saves on their videos of young girls. And I'm talking toddlers, like they probably aren't even potty trained yet, eating like foot-long hot dogs or popsicles, pickles in totally innocent ways in their own home, but it's not innocent the way it's being presented. I saw one of a little girl, like her mom was like, I'm gonna give her all this stuff and see what she does with it, like lip gloss and stuff like that. Well, this little girl picks up a razor and is pretending to shave between her legs. Um, Using tags like scandalous outfit. She takes a tampon and is, where does the tampon go? Squirting whipped cream in their mouth. I saw this one where I don't know if it was the dad or just some random creepy guy, like would hold this girl's chin and she would just automatically open her mouth and stick her tongue out. Stuff that isn't being flagged, that isn't breaking a law, but come on, look at you. All you have to do is look at the comments and you see who is watching these videos and why. And these are disturbing comments that I found today on multiple little girls' videos. She's kind of hot. And trigger warning, because this is disturbing. This is disturbing to me. So, um, to me, it's child abuse. So, trigger warning. Can I be her daddy? Just wait 10 more years. She will be a teen. You're so sexy for a toddler. My eggplant emoji fits perfectly in your mouth. There's no way that baby doesn't have a boyfriend. Those are all real comments that I saw on these videos, and TikTok isn't taking them down. I've seen so many. The only reason these wound up on my feed is because I did see people who are calling for these to be taken down and calling for there to be laws where kids can't be on these videos. They can't be on these social media platforms, but it hasn't happened yet. And how much it not only are these parents making off of exploiting their children, but these companies like TikTok and YouTube are making money too from the advertising.
Oh, it's just so disgusting that obviously I'm so just. I have talked about the magic of humans and how disgusting they are, but that somebody would upload that. Like I get, like I've seen ones where like they're like, how do you answer a phone or how do you take a picture? And
Mm-hmm.
kids like our kids' age will hold up like they're holding a cell phone instead.
Yeah.
You know, we'll hold up our, like a hang 10 sign next to our
Mm-hmm.
ear. And so I can see why handing a child products that they may or may not have seen you use, but it doesn't need to be uploaded. It doesn't need to be
Right.
recorded, especially if it is mimicking that. I showered with my child when he was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a bathtub, so it was just easier for me to set him in a little chair on the floor and of the shower stall that we had,
Yeah.
and I'd hold him and wash him, and then I would finish. But I wasn't shaving myself when I was showering with my child.
I was gonna ask that. I'm like, who shaves their punani in front of their kid anyway?
Yeah,
Or
I didn't.
are or did this mom like train her daughter? Okay, put it down there, just to make a funny in her eyes video. I don't know, but that's so weird to me.
Because I will be completely honest. One time I was at the airport with my son. He was probably about 5. I had to change my tampon, and he was in the stall with me. And that's not something that I normally do around
No,
anyone, let alone my
no.
child. But he was like, "What are you putting in your butt?" in the airport. That was great. Um,
Well,
but I
and
was just like,
especially at an airport where they don't always have family restrooms, like that's a matter of safety, and it was a
yeah,
one-time thing. Like, no, I don't know. It seems so different.
yeah, that he, even now as an older child, would probably not pretend to put a tampon in.
Right. And
Ugh.
there's nothing wrong with like teaching your kids about menstruation and healthy attitude towards that either, because it's not wrong to use a
Yes.
tampon or be on your period.
No, no,
But
no.
it's the filming of it and uploading it to TikTok that's disgusting.
And letting people comment creepy things on it,
Mm-hmm. Because it's more engagement.
and then putting more videos that are similar to get the same amount of engagement.
Mm-hmm.
because I
And I
feel,
do think sometimes these parents see those creepy comments and like they try to do damage control and delete them. Like some of them I saw were re-uploaded because of that fact. Like the parents were trying to delete some of the creepy ones. But you know, for every creep that comments, there's 20 who don't. They're just saving it. And it's so easy to download videos to your phone. So
yeah,
even if that video gets deleted, you can still have it forever.
that's why they say anything that you upload to the internet is there forever because somebody
Yep,
has it somewhere. I
it's so
know
true.
that when you Google my name, there's a picture of me at a party when I was 17. Like, that was
Mm-hmm.
on my MySpace at that time, but I don't have that picture anymore. But somehow, if you Google my name, it comes up.
Right.
And that wasn't even my name when that picture was taken.
Right. It's like it was linked to MySpace or something, and now it's just there forever,
Yep,
which is so scary.
considering the fact that these kids are not consenting to having these pictures or these videos up.
No. And it's like, it's kind of like you're saying with the nursing and stuff, where you can tell where someone works by clues. So you're giving your kid's real name to all these strangers. They're probably going to be able to figure out where you live, at least what state. If you ever put your name on there, like if you own a house or um this is something I really hate. If you Google my name, you can find out exactly where I work just because that's the nature of my job. But I hate that. And so there are creeps who will try to kidnap your kid.
Hmm.
You're crazy if you think that will never happen to you. You don't, especially when you have millions of followers, millions of followers.
And I feel like at a certain level, there are some people that are so shameless, they will follow all those accounts instead of trying to hide
Mm-hmm.
the true nature of what they are doing, and they
Oh
won't
yeah.
even hide it anymore.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's so disgusting the way that parents will put their kids in danger for views. I was reading a
Mm-hmm.
story about family and they were videotaping themselves trying to tie their daughter's hair up taller and doing something with her shoes so that she could ride a ride that she was not tall enough for at
Oh
Universal
my
Studios.
gosh.
That is so dangerous. People die from not meeting the like that's why there are
Oh my
restrictions. And I have, we've been kids and not been able to ride rides and it stinks, but it's for safety. Like,
Oh my gosh, I've never heard that. That is so crazy and
yes.
stupid. Yeah, you're so right. People fly out of those rides and get
Yeah.
killed.
I feel like even when we met like the height and weight requirements that we still slid around and
Oh yeah.
wasn't always safe when we went to like the state fair.
Oh my God. I have this terrible memory. I was probably 13, so I wasn't even a small kid. And it was one of those carnivals that just randomly get set up,
Yes.
like outside stores and stuff like that. And I went with my younger cousin, and it was one of those ones that looks like a hammer. So you're kind of strapped in and it keeps going around and around. So you end up upside down. And I was slipping around. I felt like I was going to fall out. And I was not a small kid. And it traumatized me. That's the most scared I've ever been on a ride.
Oh, one time they had to stop the ride when I was like 10 when I went to the biggest mall in Canada. I can't even remember the name. They had an amusement park and I rode it with my godparents and I was so terrified that they stopped the ride.
Oh no.
Yes. Which I love to ride
Ugh.
scary rides now, but I will scream. Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
terrified, but it's exhilarating. But
Oh, it's so much fun. I love scary raids too, but yeah, I'm a screamer.
me too. Oh,
That's part of the fun, I think, too, is getting to let loose.
yes. You're just gonna sit on a roller coaster and not make any noise?
Right? Psychopaths.
Ugh. No, I'm
That's
making
so
ugly
annoying about that
faces.
family though. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not just that's a great example because it's not just like exploitation like I opened up with, but yeah, doing videos like that put their kids in danger just for likes. I saw this family, which the husband is in the military, so he should freaking know better. And I think the wife is a stay-at-home mom because, they travel around a lot. And they both recorded, they wrapped up their toddler son in saran wrap from his neck down to his feet so he couldn't move and recorded themselves like pushing him over. And yes, he was falling on the bed, but sometimes it was face first. And your arms are pinned down. You can't even follow your natural instinct of when we fall forward, we put our arms out, right, to save ourselves. So he was falling on his face and crying, and they were laughing and thinking it was so funny. Well, joke was on them when someone saw that TikTok, multiple people, and called CPS. And the mom posted a video crying the next day because CPS had taken him because of that video and did an investigation. And, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, they got him back like 24 or 48 hours later. And I hope they learned a huge lesson, but it's just terrible.
It
And she didn't
is.
even think she was in the wrong. Like when she was crying the next day, they were still trying to defend themselves. And I mean, we've known people in the military. He's lucky he still even has a job after that.
I mean, he probably got in a lot of trouble.
I hope so. His
It
face was on it and he was wearing his uniform.
that is actually, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to show your affiliation with whatever unit you're in social media. I know some people
Mm,
have done it for a long time since, pictures on MySpace, Facebook, but especially videos of soldiers doing inappropriate things. I do think that this is wrong, that this female soldier got reprimanded for making a sexy TikTok in uniform when I've seen many, 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 many men,
mm-hmm.
like 50 Cent said, many
Man,
men.
man, man,
Yes.
man, 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 man.
I love that. I love that song. Um, do the same types of things, and it was never a big deal until a woman did
Mm-hmm.
it. I do think that's wrong. I do think they're all wrong, but I do think it's wrong that she got in trouble and the men, up until
Mm-hmm.
that point, had not gotten the same type of attention that she did in the same way. So it's just,
And maybe it will just become a military wide thing where they're not even allowed to have TikTok. Like we were talking about how that is a government employee, right? Because I could see how that could be dangerous too. Like it would have your uniform has your name. You can usually tell the ranking, right? By
yep,
the
by the
by
patch
yep, by the patches.
in the
And
front.
then you can tell what branch of the military based on the uniform. And there's soldiers that are deployed making videos, and it doesn't mean they don't have a right to have fun and stuff like that. It can be private, it doesn't have to be posted online, but I could see how you'd be putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, because most, in a military uniform, you wear the unit that you're in, you wear the patch on your sleeve. And so anyone can Google what that patch is and where they're stationed from, and back to the whole, privacy thing in many other ways, schools and hospitals. You can see, you know, oh, that
Hmm.
person is with that person, and I can see that this person has that patch, so that person's probably with them in that unit. And
Yes, I know what building that is, I know what street that is.
yes, because I don't know if you know this, but on like military installations do not show up on GPS. Like if you were to like Google or Google Maps around the area of Fort Bragg, it would just be a gray area that is Fort Bragg. It
Mm,
civilians and, even people that aren't civilians that don't have they can't see, the streets and the
mm-hmm,
training fields and all this stuff. And
mm-hmm,
it just goes back to what because not being in the military, I feel, is different than being a nurse or a doctor or a teacher because you sign a contract and you're telling the government that you will serve X amount of years and you will do what they tell you to do. So they can tell you
mm-hmm,
that you can't have X, Y, and Z. I remember growing up around a military installation and the soldiers there would get lists like you cannot go to this place, this place in the county
mm-hmm,
that we lived. And so I can see how that would be easier, like saying, well, you signed a contract that you were going to do X amount of years and you were going to get, whether it's benefits for college or money, like a bonus.
mm-hmm,
And so, you are saying you will do what the military tells you. That's the contract you signed.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes me think of my ex who was in the military before we met and worked on computers for them because she's very smart and works for a big software company now doing coding and was doing things for the military, but kept getting in trouble because she was using like AOL Instant Messenger and other social media that she wasn't allowed to use. And when she got reprimanded, then she was writing codes for her computer so she could circumvent it. And when she got caught, I don't know how she talked herself out of getting dishonorably discharged, but made some sort of deal where she left the military and still kept some of her benefits. But I'm like, she's lucky she didn't go to prison.
Yeah,
Like, how fucking stupid can you be?
they were probably able to see that she wasn't doing anything malicious, because
Hmm. But you
whistle.
could still be opening up like the systems to other hackers, right? Like, especially being deployed.
Yeah,
Ugh, so stupid. But yeah, so there's lots of stupid parents on TikTok.
it, that is true. And I was just gonna say, especially with that family with at Universal, how are you going to post that video and then try to call out Universal for following the rules like you were in the right and they wouldn't let your child ride
Right.
their ride when they knew what you were doing with trying to put her hair taller?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, and that what lesson are you teaching your kids too?
How to get around the rules or
And
that
then be
you're above the rules.
self-righteous when it doesn't work?
Yeah. Like
It's
the
terrible.
family you were talking about, like they were traumatizing their child.
Hmm.
Not only their child, not only is that like emotionally, but also they could have really hurt themselves because like you said, our our reaction as people is to stop ourselves from falling, to putting our you're
Yeah.
still going to try to put your arms out and you could pull your muscles and they could
Yeah.
separate from the joints.
He could have jumped off the bed and hit his head trying to get away because he was scared.
Oh, that's just
Yeah, idiots. If there is a silver lining, it is that I know lots of lawmakers right now are trying to make laws to protect kids online. And it just can't happen fast enough.
one thing I was going to bring up next was I did find a list of some of the most controversial stars on TikTok and why they're
Mm,
controversial. I noticed that a lot of the people on the list come from houses, whether it's the Hype House or
mm,
I don't even know, the Sway House.
which are
I don't,
basically groups set up. to make these people popular, to make these companies money.
Yes, they're paying them to live in a house, which has gone back all the way before TikTok. Jake Paul was in one, which he's actually on the list of most controversial TikTok stars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of these TikTokers I have not heard of, but that's
Mm-hmm.
just not the content listening to. Um, there was Josh Richards. He's a very, very famous TikToker who leaked his own nudes when most of his like on a TikTok live, he leaked his own nudes, and most of his followers are under the age of 18.
What? Ew.
And then there,
How does that not get you banned?
I
I feel like if I posted a video of my genitalia on TikTok, I wouldn't have a TikTok anymore.
I know, right? There is a lot of TikTokers that threw parties during the pandemic, like Bryson
Mm.
Hall, the Sway House, the D'Amelios, and then the TikToker that put out that she started the room. Oh, Ava Louise made up the rumor about Jeffree Star and Kanye West, and she just said it says Ava later admitted to fabricating the whole story. I'm not even getting sued. I made this entire scandal up. There's literally not one bit of truth to anything I said.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel like I've always been a Jeffree fan. I know he's problematic. I'm not standing up for the things that he's done. I like the other things he's done. I can't justify things that have been done on his behalf, just what I know about him. But he is a very, very big name, and so is Kanye West. They're both very controversial people, and I feel like she just said that because she knew it would get views and get her attention.
And it did. Like I heard it and I like Jeffree Star too. And I thought it would be cool if he was hooking up with Kanye West. But to know that it was just totally made up for attention, like that can be so dangerous. Like we don't even have time to get into all of the problems with homosexuality and being black and being a rapper and how dangerous that can be for somebody, even today. Like, yeah, that's just wrong. And ugh, yeah, that is very problematic. Oh my gosh.
And then this was the one I wanted to bring up. This is from 17.com. It is the most shocking TikTok scandals and controversies. Number one, it says when Zoe Laverne admitted to kissing a 13-year-old. In November 2020, 19-year-old Zoe apologized for kissing and catching feelings for a fan.
I
Later that
remember
month,
that.
Insider reported Zoe commented on the fans live with, I hope you're doing well, and that she missed him. There were also speculations that the two were caught wearing Bond touch bracelets, which makes one of the bracelets vibrate after the other one is pressed.
I remember that and seeing some of their TikToks together. And yes, he was 13, but he looked like a baby. He looked like an 11-year-old to me. He was so small and just young looking. And that is so gross. And even her mom was saying, "Oh, they're just friends. It's innocent. They're both kids." It's like, "No.
She's an
You're
adult.
yeah, she can legally vote. She can go buy cigarettes. She can join
Not
the
anymore.
military."
Cigarettes they changed to 21.
Oh, does
But
it
you could
depend on
join.
the state?
No, it's every state now. It changed a
Oh,
couple
did not
years
know
ago.
that.
Only because I vape, and I
Huh,
have for a long time. But you can buy a gun at 18.
very true.
Like you can vote,
Damn.
and her apology for kissing and catching feelings, she said sorry because she had to. I don't think she was
Mm-hmm.
sorry,
Mm-mm.
especially because after she said sorry, she still said that she missed him.
Yeah, and we don't even know what they did when the cameras weren't on, you know?
Ugh, yeah, that's true. I just wanted to bring up controversial people because I think that's
Yeah.
part of the TikTok culture is
Mm-hmm.
people doing crazy things for views. I know one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite creators because it is so shocking is Two Turn Tony. I love him and his ducks. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know that it's ridiculous and people cannot just go out and do this stuff. There was a set of creators that were twins that actually got arrested because they were making a video and they had called an Uber and then they dressed in ski masks and basically the Uber driver was like, "No, I'm not taking you anywhere." Like,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody called the police thinking that they were trying to carjack them. The police
Mm-hmm.
were like, "No, you can't do that. Like, don't do that." And they did it again 4 hours later. So they
Yeah,
got
it's like you're
arrested.
inciting fear.
Yes. I think they actually got charged with like false imprisonment or kidnapping or something. And
Yikes.
yeah, it was a lot. I just,
Yeah. It and that's like extreme, like taking things too far. But you even mentioned the other day when we were talking about this, just little things like the trend of going through a drive-through and throwing your drink on the people who work there, or I don't know his name, but I see him all the time going to Home Depot and just like fucking with people, like blowing air horns at them or putting buckets over their head. And, a few times he's gotten his ass beat, which he deserves. It's like you sometimes pranks are funny to see, but I like it when people don't get hurt, you know? Like if you're making someone's day worse, like if they're gonna go home and feel badly about themselves or God forbid have a heart attack because you're getting them so upset in the moment, like is that what you want your legacy to be?
yes, I like when, couples prank each other or best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out and prank strangers.
Yeah.
That's not okay. I've
Yeah.
seen it in Walmart, like it's,
And you
yeah.
don't know what kind of day someone's having. I mean, there have been days this week where if I was at the grocery store and someone did that to me, I'd either go ape shit or I might just stand there and break down crying because I got enough problems. I don't need to be on your
Yeah.
TikTok.
No, like you can't post that of me. Like, yes, you can record it, but
Uh,
you cannot post it. So I just looked it up. They were charged with one felony count of false imprisonment affected by violence, menace, fraud, or deceit,
Yikes.
and one misdemeanor count of falsely reporting an emergency.
Damn. That's crazy. And although TikTok claims to have a strong anti-bullying stance, I see bullying all the time on TikTok in the comments, even people making videos to make fun of other people. And it's not like this is just a TikTok problem, it's all across social media, right? But it is a problem.
There are so many, accounts or, videos of bullying, but then sometimes you see somebody's audio has been taken away because of bullying, and it's not really when you're just trying
Mm-hmm.
to talk about something. So I feel like I heard this on H3 podcast, like about James Charles, like he will get anything taken down against him, like even if it's just
Mm-hmm.
like speculation and not quite bullying. So I also
Mm-hmm.
think it depends on who you are and if you have enough pull to get it taken down.
Yes.
And I think
It's
that's
very
wrong.
true.
I think it
I
should
do
be the same for
too.
everyone. Either you can talk about everyone or you can't talk about anyone.
Yeah, it's very true. It's like a very blurred line, and you can report comments and users and stuff, but you're right. It seems so, um, like what is free speech and what is bullying, and that's something that these platforms need to clearly state in their terms of service and terms of use, and they need to hire more people to be monitoring that, because it's not enough to say that we take an anti-bullying stance if it's happening so much. I did get some stats from DoSomething.org, which is about cyberbullying because it is such a problem, just for some perspective. But 37% of kids between 12 and 17 say they've been bullied online. But when asking just the LGBTQ youth population, it was over 50% who said they've been bullied online. 23% of students admitted that they've left mean or done cruel things to somebody online. um, Young people who are harassed online are at a greater risk of self harm or suicide, which makes total sense. But only 1 in 10 youth under 17 said they told an adult when it happened to them.
Mm.
And I was just randomly scrolling through videos that were posted this week. Like, I tried to look at ones that were like dancing or body positivity and looking at comments. And these are just some disgusting ones I randomly saw. They weren't even on big creators. Someone said, "I'm surprised you didn't eat the mic," to this overweight woman who was talking about body positivity. "Go take a permanent nap. I can't fucking stand fat people. You're disgusting. You're going to hell." And someone was on a trans woman's video calling her a handsome guy. Just a few. That was just in 5 minutes of me looking.
Ugh.
And it makes me
I
so sad that, kids are on this platform. They shouldn't even be. I don't even think like people younger than 13. Like YouTube has that rule, right? But it's also not enforced. You're not allowed to open up a YouTube if you're under 13, and you're not allowed to monetize it if you're under 18. But there's still ways that people get around it, especially with parents doing it for their kids. Look at Kim Kardashian. She says she runs North's TikTok, and I've seen North's TikTok, and she has her friends on there sometimes. And I'm like, these are little girls.
yeah, and I'm speechless just because I feel like as a society and in media, there are things about being more progressive with body positivity and equal rights, and then
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people still do hide behind a screen name and, sometimes fake accounts to make
Yes.
those comments just to tear somebody down that they
It's
maybe
so easy to make a fake account.
and you can even have multiple accounts linked to one.
Yep.
Like,
It's press of a button, just switch back and forth.
yeah, I do that. I have two different Instagrams for different things, not fake
Mm-hmm.
ones, but just for two different things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's literally just a push of a little icon, and you're on to a different screen, so you can, you know, beat somebody down to what
Mm-hmm.
make yourself feel better. It doesn't make them feel, it doesn't make people feel better. I know when I was a teenager, I probably said, no, not probably, I did say some hurtful things on social media,
Same.
and
Yep.
it didn't make me feel better.
Mm-mm.
It made the whole situation worse because,
Mm-hmm.
people are saying mean things about you, so you want to say something back, but sometimes
Yeah.
people aren't even saying anything to you. You're just being nasty.
Yeah. And it's so easy online because you don't say it to their face, it's easier to separate yourself from it and not think about what you're actually doing. And it is a double-edged sword because, like you said, TikTok can be such a positive platform. And I feel like my feed is overall very positive because of who I follow and just how the algorithm has learned what I like, right?
Hmm.
And so maybe that really is the root of how we make it better is don't give these people with their hate speech and their bullying and their holier than thou attitudes, don't give them your view. Like, don't boost their social media. Give your attention to the people who are trying to do good and make a difference and have a positive message and make you feel better when you watch it. Not because you're making fun of people or commiserating in a bad way against other groups of people. Like, I don't know, use our likes for good.
Yeah, that's so true. I try to do that too, though. Like you said, my algorithm is what I normally watch,
Mm-hmm.
and I there's just so many creators that are so good, that are so
Mm-hmm.
funny, and they don't have to be funny by bringing others down.
It's so true. I've never told anyone this, but I have a fake TikTok that I use, and I just use it to try to do the opposite. Like, I leave positive comments on random people's videos, like, especially videos that don't get a lot of views or people who are going through struggles, because I don't want it tied to my name or anything like that. I want it to be anonymous.
Hmm.
And it makes me feel better to
That's
just know that
true.
maybe I made their day or maybe I made them feel seen or just so they know they're not alone.
Yes, I definitely believe that.
Oh, yeah. And we talked about the dark side of TikTok, but overall I really do like TikTok. I do. I've learned so many cool crafts and music and recipes from TikTok. And if I don't know how to do something, the first thing I usually do is go to TikTok because it used to be I would go on YouTube and try to figure something out, but TikTok I can get it in 3 minutes instead of 10, you know?
Hmm. Or an hour. Some people we watch make
Yeah.
hour videos, and I'm like, oh, I
Yep.
don't really have time for that today.
So there
Ugh.
is a lot of good content on TikTok. And since we were talking about some dark stuff today, we wanted to share some of our favorite TikTokers.
Yes. Why don't you go first?
Sure. Um, One of my favorites, his username is the London Charles. I don't even know how I started watching him. His videos would just pop up on my feed now and then, and he makes these really funny skits where he plays all the different characters in them. But it's like this soap opera at that point.
Remove y'all's elbows off of my countertops, please.
Oh my God.
We are not even 48 hours in my new house, and I have already found several issues.
Such as?
Your mouth and your room being a mess.
I'm still unpacking, Mama.
I didn't ask for an explanation. However, I do need a solution.
A solution? Sure. Sure. When I am done unpacking, I'll clean it up.
You see, that doesn't work for me.
But it works for me, so try and stay out of my room until further notice, please.
Brian, you know who you're talking to.
My mom.
Then act like it before I forget that you're my child and handle that ass any kind of way. Mama, don't smoke in here. Go in the backyard. Now, the same rules will apply in this house. Example, the dishes. Well, it's quite simple. I don't want to see any.
What if we didn't make the dish?
I don't care who made them. I just better not see them, or I'm fighting the first son I see.
He plays a mom who has she's a single black mom. She has three sons. Her oldest is like a playboy got this girl pregnant and has all these other girlfriends, and like she takes care of her grandbaby. And then the second son is gay and like the overachiever, does really well in school and but will always call her out on her shit. And then the youngest, of course, is the baby that gets away with everything. And he just has all these characters, like the girlfriends and the baby daddies, and he plays them all and he does it so well. And I'll try not to watch for like a month so that I can just go one Saturday and I catch up and just scroll through and catch up on all the drama. But he's so funny. So the London Charles, if you don't watch him, I definitely recommend him.
I love to do that too. Like, I try not to watch so I can binge a whole bunch of new content. Oh, that's my favorite thing. Oh, so one of my favorite TikTok accounts are the old gays, at the old gays. Have you seen them?
Yes, I follow them.
Me
Love them. I didn't even
too.
think of them.
Yes, I just love their energy, and sometimes they have like Lance Bass, or I recently watched the Trixie Motel, where Trixie Motel opened a hotel in Palm Springs and did a drag show, and the old gays were talking to her about Palm Springs, and it was just they're so great and they just have such a good message. Sometimes they have, deeper meanings, like they show pictures of them when they're young.
I used to have big bangs, and now I get banged all the time.
I used to have the flyest fro, but now I wonder, where did it all go?
I used to have someone cut my hair. Now I can't find it anywhere.
I used to think my hair was catchy, so come fetch me, big boy.
I used to have a bowl cut. Now I just wear wigs.
Yeah.
I look good! Bravo!
And what they would say to their younger selves, and sometimes they're dancing, and the old gays are just so iconic.
They are. They're so funny and they have such different like styles and personalities, but you can tell they're genuinely best friends. It doesn't seem fake. It's like what we would all want when we're old, right? Who wouldn't want to just hang out and have fun with their friends? And I especially love that they lived long enough to see this time where they can be open and not only just be accepted, like be praised, like be seen, be appreciated for being exactly who they are, especially since they lived in a time where they didn't have these rights and they may have had to have been secretive about who they are. And they fought so that all of these young people now could have a voice and could make it to old age as LGBTQ, Oh, it literally gives me chills right now. So bravo, old gays. I'm so glad they have an account.
Me too.
Another one of our favorites, because I know you follow her too, is Mercury Stardust, who calls herself the trans handy ma'am.
A lot of you are new here, so let's do an intro, shall we? My name is Mercury, and I am the trans handyman. I am a trans woman who has 16 years experience as a maintenance technician. I teach compassionate DIY. Think Mr. Rogers, but with a pair of boobs. 2 years ago, I answered one question on the internet and it went viral and it changed my life forever. My content has been aimed primarily at renters, but a focus is not an exclusion. I feel very strongly about intersectionality, and I believe if I focus on renters, I can basically help everybody. Now I have a podcast called the Handyman Hotline, where you call and leave a voicemail and I answer the questions to the best of my ability. I have 2 cats, one named Nitro and one named Apollo. I have a spouse named Zizi, who did 4 of my 7 tattoos. I have amazing friends. I have 3 employees who all get paid exactly the same as I do, because I feel very strongly in making sure you support those who support you. I'm one of the luckiest people in the world because all of you support me, and I never want to stop doing what I do because, well, I love it so much.
She's a trans woman, and a lot of her videos are about like handiness, because it's what she does for a living. So I've learned a lot of how to fix things around the house, and people will message her like in tears, like not knowing how to hang something up or fix their pipe or all these things around the house, and she takes the time to answer them, and which she doesn't have to do. Like, that's what she does for a living, but she gives all this information away for free because she wants people to feel empowered and doing things for themselves, and learning how to fix things, which is a wonderful skill to have. But she's just so funny and seems so sweet, and I love her style. Like, she always has colorful hair, and when she does her makeup, it's usually very colorful in a way that I don't have the bravery to rock. And
Me
I just love her
neither.
unique smile.
Yes.
And I can't see her smile and not smile back. It's just infectious.
And her laugh too is infectious.
Hmm.
I think it
Yes.
is.
Yes. I love it. And she's BDSM friendly. She doesn't talk about it that much, but like the hints she does drop, it's obvious she's a kinky person, and I love that too because kinkiness is part of human nature and has been evidenced for hundreds of years. And I just love people who are open and honest about it without making it their whole personality.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have a kink account, but it's just part of who she is, and she's honest and open about it, and I love that.
I have gotten a lot of information from her. You know that my husband has been very hurt for a while. He was in a very bad car
Mm-hmm.
accident a couple years ago. And so a lot of the handy things fell on me. Or even before that, he
Mm-hmm.
worked a lot and he
Yeah.
would have to do the things. And I'm like, I'm not very handy. But I was able
Mm-hmm.
to watch her videos and unclog my bathroom drain and take out a broken light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
It's such good information that I probably would have paid somebody to come do for me, but I was able
Right.
to watch her for free and do it
Yeah.
myself and feel empowered about myself that, hey, I can actually do this.
And I think that's the key. Empowered. Like, we don't need a man to do stuff for us just because we're women. Like, we are totally capable of using tools and being handy, you know? But
Yes.
that is like a what's the word I'm looking for? That is kind of like a sexist stereotype that doesn't get talked about a lot because we probably have bigger fish to fry, but we can be just as handy.
Yes. Well, we're not just in the kitchen or, taking care of, we
Mhm.
have even talked that we are in female dominated fields.
Mhm.
And I think we're like, oh, this is what I do. This is what I'm good at. But we can also be
Mhm.
good at things that are not necessarily dominated by women.
Right. Who is your next creator?
I was going to bring up his name is David. I can't remember. David Patrick. Um, at fatty underscore long underscore legs. Fatty long legs. He is so funny.
Tell me the story behind your username. I'm so ready for this. I'm Fatty Longlegs, and we're about to go on a journey. My Christian name is David Patrick Long. Long, Long. Which means that on all official documents, I am David P. Long. Which made my college email DP Long. If you don't know what DP means, don't look it up. It also meant that when I taught sex ed, people said it like it was a question. Mr. Long? That is none of your business. The point is, my name is problematic. Combine that with the fact that I was not the skinniest child. I wore a 32 Husky. Also, sidebar, who is in charge of picking the names for the sizes of children's clothing? Because that person's a feast your eyes on 10-year-old Patrick. I was in fact eating that baby. In the 5th grade, this kid named Jeremy started calling me Fatty Patty. We're out at recess one day and some kid looks at me and says, "Watch out for Daddy Longlegs." And Jeremy says, "More like Fatty Longlegs."
He does a lot of story times. He is a recovering addict. And he does a lot of story times about his addictions and also his relationship with his children and his ex-wife, because he is gay now and he is still very close to his ex-wife. They're
Wow.
they're very good at co-parenting, but his stories are just really funny, and I just really appreciate the honesty because I do believe that non-traditional ways of doing things are so amazing, and I hate when people are looked down on for being addicts or for being co-parents with somebody they're divorced from. When they have a
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine relationship, you can love somebody and know that you're not supposed to be with them forever.
Absolutely.
And so his story times are just funny and they make me laugh. He's usually in his car, but he talks about being a prostitute when he was an addict and the things
Mm-hmm.
that he did and funny stories about his children, and I just really enjoy his content.
I've never heard of him, but I'm gonna follow now.
You might have come across he does have a couple videos that have like close to 10 million views, so maybe you scrolled
Mm-hmm.
past it and seen part of it. I think most people
Yeah,
might have. I think we have very similar algorithm. Um,
probably.
but you probably don't know who he is or you haven't watched a full video. Um, but he's just so funny, and the way he tells his stories is so funny that he can make light of his trauma because he has healed, and I think that's important too, is healing from your trauma, but also being able to recognize that some of your trauma is ridiculous and you put yourself there.
Mm-hmm. Like owning it.
Yes.
I love that. Very cool. And that's a funny name too, Fatty Long Legs.
Yes.
Love it.
Because he's not very heavy. I don't know if he used to be. I can't remember if he talked about being heavy or if he just has thick legs, but he's not a
Mm-hmm.
heavy, heavy man.
Yeah, he
So,
looks like he's in shape. But yeah, maybe he's just got nice thighs. My last creator who I love, and he has 4.8 million followers now, but when I started following him, it was like less than 500,000. So I'm so happy to see how his account has blown up. His name is his username is Quincy LK. But most people refer to it as Quincy's Tavern because he's kind of, I would call it part of the cozy talk community, like these really relaxing videos that are kind of ASMR, but not really. And the point of view of his videos is like you're sitting at the bar at his tavern and everything's decorated really nicely behind him. It has like a Dungeons and Dragons or Lord of the Rings vibe, and he will make you something. Maybe it's like a cup of hot chocolate or a bowl of soup, and he talks to you as he does it. And he does lots of recipes from video games and books and stuff. So the nerd in me loves that. Like just scrolling through right now, he has Elder Scroll clam chowder from that game. And I think he's made some Harry Potter recipes, things like that. And it's just so relaxing. And he seems like such a sweetheart, just like a genuinely sweet person. And I always stop and watch his videos when I'm scrolling. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel relaxed. And
oh,
how cool that he did something so out of the box and now people are copying him and just awesome. Like I want to cosplay as a tavern owner and make people soup.
that would be. I'm actually playing Elder Scrolls right now. Which that.
Wow, you might like it.
Yes, I'll have to look him up. Oh, that's so cool. I love people that most of their TikToks are dedicated to like one character. I can't remember her
Mm-hmm.
name, but she does McGonagall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and she just like does funny skits as Professor McGonagall, and I just think it's hilarious because
That
she's
is
young.
hilarious.
Like she's probably around our age. She's not an old lady. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but she dresses like in the robes and the hat, and I'm like, that would just be fun to have.
That would. I do
It's
love that about TikTok is the creativity I see on there and just people expressing themselves. It just makes me happy.
yes. it was so hard for me to pick a last one, but I'm gonna go with my original one that I was gonna go with was Michael Darcy, the Michael Darcy at the Michael Darcy, I should say. But Michael and Jeremy and post videos, they're a couple, and Darcy is his name is Darcy Michael. What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
I Yes, the Darcy Michael. I think I said it the other way around.
Pop quiz for my stoner husband.
Pop quiz for my stoner husband.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for chicken breasts.
Why?
Because I took 2 out of the freezer to thaw, and then the doorbell rang, and I don't know where they ended up.
So now we're retracing Darcy's steps.
I never thought we'd be walking around this house looking for a pair of breasts.
This is why we don't cook.
It's like a scavenger hunt.
But the prize is salmonella?
Jeremy, we're looking for chicken, not salmon.
Wow.
The laundry, I switched it over after the door rang.
Please tell me you didn't put the chicken in the laundry.
I didn't. Oh, it's right here. I found it. Oh.
We're ordering in though, right?
Yeah, I'm fucking exhausted now. I'm not cooking. ADHD for the win!
It's their relationship. They've been married for, I think, 18 years, they said. And Darcy has ADHD really bad, and he'll just forget his shoes when he goes on a walk, or he'll go to do something and come home with 15 new plants, and or he'll go to
And he's
take
a big stoner.
yes. So and you can tell that his husband is annoyed sometimes, but he knows that that's who Darcy is, so all he can do is
Mm-hmm.
audible eye roll and laugh.
They
Because
are so cute.
they are. And I think that they even had like a trip planned where you could go to Greece, I think it was, and hang out with them and go to Greece, but that's not something that's in my stars, but I do think that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, they have a daughter, um, because I think they joke that Jeremy experimented in college, right, and got someone pregnant, but they raised her together, but she's grown up, right? So they can go off and do that thing. So maybe when our kids are out of the house, we can go on a Greek cruise with them because that sounds amazing.
I actually just saw that Chelsea Lynn was doing a cruise like from Florida to
Ooh,
the Bahamas. It's like 4 or 5 days. And I'm like, I went on a cruise last year, my first one. It was so much fun. I would love to do another one, and she's hilarious.
that
But
seems like a good amount of time too, 4 to 5 days, because I've never
yes,
been on one. So that
yes.
seems like a good way to dip your toes in. And she is so funny too. Oh my gosh.
Oh. But yeah, those are my favorite TikTokers. They're all
Those are
very
some good
different, but they're
ones.
all very similar in some ways.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love that, you know, in my life, and I'm a very, I'm fairly introverted. I stay home a lot. I like to be at home. I tell everyone like that's my favorite thing to do is be at home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I love that I can experience so many different people and different experiences through
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. So, as gross and uncomfortable as TikTok is sometimes, there is a lot of good.
Mm-hmm. And we can change the bad. Like the things we brought up today, some of them are very problematic, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? So hopefully us talking about this maybe opens the eyes of people who maybe didn't know about it. And so if these laws protecting kids on the internet do come up on your ballot, you'll be more aware and can vote for it. Or if maybe you are annoyed with someone and you were gonna type like a mean comment and leave it on their social media, maybe you'll think twice. There's so many great things about TikTok and the internet in general, and we can make it a better place. I don't know. Maybe
Yes,
that's cheesy and maybe I'm naive, but I do think there's so much good and there's so much connection available that it's not worth throwing it all out.
I know. And I think that's part of the reason why some of this stuff is so shocking to us because we do see so much good
Mm-hmm.
in everything and everyone usually that I'm just like gobsmacked almost
Mm-hmm.
how people can act like that and behave and think that it's okay or know that it's not okay and still do it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's cheesy. I think it I think it could happen and I don't want us to change. I don't want us to lose that hope.
Yeah, true. Oh, and it's nice that it has given so many people a voice who didn't have one before.
Yes, there are there's so many things going on now that people need to realize will affect more than just who you think it will, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to hear different perspectives of how it's going to affect different people is so important. And
Mm-hmm.
it should make you think of what could happen in your own personal life and how these things could affect you, whatever they are. There's so many things that I'm not getting into. It's getting late and uh, I've been staying off Twitter lately just because there's other things
Mm-hmm.
to occupy my time than being depressed because of Twitter. So,
Very good point. So
yes.
we'll just, stay on our cozy end of TikTok, keep our algorithm strong and fight the power.
Yes. Keep watching the people who fill our cups, who
Mm-hmm.
educate us, who bring joy to our lives, and I think that's the important part. And I hope
Yes.
that other people listening to this can take our advice because I know it's easier said than done, but leaving a mean comment will not make you feel better. It may make you
Mm-hmm.
feel better in the moment, but you're going to regret it. If it's not productive or conducive or helpful, then you should probably just tell your best friend.
Exactly. Yep. Oh, I love that. Well, I enjoyed this episode and talking about this stuff with my bestie.
Me too. I loved our memoir madness, but it was nice to talk about something different than just the books we've been reading a lot of books lately.
We
Um
have.
and we talk about those together, so I'm glad that we're expanding on what we're talking about and I'm excited for our next idea, whatever that may be for next week, but make sure you tune in.
Yes. Thank you for listening to another week of All the Tea We Can't Not Sip. And we'll see you next time.
Good night. Bye bye.
Bye.